to Café Con Leche with
Liz
and Lil. Hi, everybody.
Hey.
Welcome. We are doing this thing. This is episode 4, 5.
5.
We gotta keep better track.
Yeah.
Next time I'll write it down before we start.
That's bueno.
I'm so great at my life.
I've never been good with numbers.
It's okay. I'll try to keep track of it. How are you, Queen? How are you?
I'm good.
Good.
It's a glorious sunny day in Nueva York. What about
I know
you?
it's a beautiful sunny day here in Illinois, in Chicago. It's chilly though. It's a deceptive day. It's like sunny, and then you go outside and it's like 65 degrees.
Yes. I did make that mistake the other day and wore my tank top out to walk the dog and no bra. And it was a choice that I regretted very quickly. Oh,
Like,
Jim, hurry up.
Ooh, turkey's done. Yeah, that's it's rough. I know. It's been chilly the last couple of days, and in the house we keep it at a nice temperature. And with the sun coming through the windows, it gets warm in here. So I'm wearing like a nice light, shirt, but it's like light. And I was like, nope, gotta put on something better to go outside right now. Yes.
You make
But
smart
other
choices.
than that, we're gonna try. Other than that, pretty good. All in all, I think I mentioned this last time, maybe I started a new diet that is, it's working great. It takes the joy out of food a little.
Sorry,
but that's fine. Maybe I got too much joy in my food. Maybe that's I got it a little, because I'm okay with being pleasantly plump, sensually stout, but I want to be in control of it. Sassy. And I lost control of it. Yeah, you like that? They said that about me in a review once. I know. I was like, hey, okay. I was like, I wish that, yes, sensually stout. I check.
Yes.
But yeah, so today we have 2 beautiful human beings coming on. Tell them about it, Alyssa.
We have the magnificent Mili Diaz and the equally magnificent Lucy Godínez.
Yeah. So let's get started with our beautiful ladies. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Hello, ladies. Welcome to Café Con Leche.
Yeah.
Oh, we're so excited to have you.
So pumped.
I'm so excited.
Nina's in the house.
Thank you, guys.
I know.
Yes.
We're swimming in Nina's. Because Alyssa, you played a Nina too, yeah?
Yes, a few times, yeah.
What? Oh my God.
Yeah.
Really, Nina house.
I'm getting old.
I auditioned for Nina once, and I lost out to Lucy, which is okay, because she...
What?
Yeah, girl. Yeah.
I did not know that. You auditioned for that production for Nina?
Listen, they had me come in. They had me come in for everybody. The only person I didn't read for was like Abuela or something. They had me. The first thing they had me read for was for Nina, and then they were like, "Oh, that's great, that's nice." Then they sent me more Nina stuff, and then sent me Daniela stuff. And I was like, okay. I mean, this is much more. I thought I was too old for Nina, so I was surprised you were even seeing me. And then they sent me Carla stuff, and then when I went in for the actual callback, they saw me for Nina and Daniela.
Queen.
A lot that they just like threw at you to just do. They're like, do you know the whole play? Would you like to just do a 1-woman production for us?
I mean,
yeah.
That's what it felt like. And I knew when they were throwing all that stuff at me, I was like, they want to use me, but they have ideas. Like, when theater people see you for a lot of roles, but they only see other people for specific roles, it's easier to fit those specific people into those specific roles than to narrow down what you're going to be in, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, I mean, don't get me wrong. I wish I could have been in that production. It was killer. Everybody in it was good.
I wish that you were in it. That would have been so fun. We'll have our time. We'll have our time in the sun.
It's coming. It's coming.
It's time. I'm loving this fierce queen panel. Yes. So to start us off, we got our most important question. Well, not our most important, but our favorite question.
Our favorite and our first question.
Yes.
How do you like your cafe? Right? Do you like it cold? Do you like it nitro infused? Do you like it bitter, like that first breakup in college? Ooh. Mili, you go first.
Okay. I just started getting into coffee like 2 years ago, so I'm a newbie. But I love it with a lot of cream and a lot of sugar, and definitely hot coffee in the morning.
Perfect.
A little bit of cinnamon on top, but just a little bit.
Yes, girl.
I love coffee now.
Well, I am similarly a coffee newbie. I like didn't really start drinking coffee. I didn't drink coffee in college either. I don't really know how or why I did not do
These
that.
are my people. I'm new to coffee, newish to coffee as well.
There's so much to learn.
Is there so much to learn? So much to learn.
This is the polar opposite of our last episode, because last
Of
episode,
all of our other episodes,
we were talking
I'm usually
about
the only one who's like,
yes. I was talking about how I used to drink it in a bottle.
Oh my
God.
mm-hmm.
Anyway, let's see. So how do you like it though?
Well, it depends. Some days I like iced coffee.
Okay.
If I'm like doing a show, like if I'm running to rehearsal, iced coffee, big fan. But I don't know. I'm an uppity Cuban. I like my cafecitos like classic, just that perfect amount of sweetness, a little milky, but not too much, you know, it's just with some bread on the side.
Yes. Oh
Just,
my God. They make these,
toast.
these in Puerto Rico, they make these, I cannot even remember. I think they call them galletas de manteca. They're these cookies, except that they're almost like a mix between like a crunchy bread and a cookie. And you dip it in the coffee. I need to figure out how to get my hands on it here. I think I can if I go to Humboldt Park. I'm sure somewhere
My gosh,
somebody
my
is
friend
selling them.
just introduced me to getting like a cappuccino and then a croissant and then dipping the croissant in the cappuccino. Unreal.
Yeah. And if you want to get a little even more adventurous, this is a little cuckoo pants, but some oldies, some viejitos, that I know will put a block of cheese into their coffee, and then
Look at their face.
crispy bread. You know, just dip it in and pull that melty cheese. It's actually really amazing, but it really only works if your coffee is sweet and strong and milky. So, but it is. Yeah.
I've never tried that, but I had seen it because my great grandpa used to have his coffee that way.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I've never heard of that. Maybe I will try
I want to try it.
So good. Just
like,
let
what the
it
fuck
melt.
else are we doing? Yeah,
I know, yeah.
in my coffee.
Protesting and trying new coffee.
Trying new types of coffee. Yes.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it.
Amazing. Ladies, in this in the pandemic, in this quarantine, where are you quarantining right now? And how are you feeling?
Yeah.
Lucy, you go first.
Hey, well, I'm quarantining right now with my family at my house in Evanston, Illinois, which is a suburb of Chicago. I was working out of town. I was doing contract at the Dallas Theater Center. I know, amazing theater that I'm so sad that I was not able to really work out for very long. Because then I had to come home within like 24 hours, like the night of our first preview. And so I just kind of had all my stuff. So I just came back to my parents' house. So I've been with my parents and my little sister, which has been like totally lovely. And I'm like super lucky that like I have that option. But definitely like quarantining with your parents unexpectedly when you're like, you know, living by yourself, doing your thing, you know, which has been like kind of overwhelming sometimes. But I've like had a lot of time to like do things that I feel like I haven't had time to do. Which I think we've all kind of like been able to find those little ways to like take care of ourselves in ways that we haven't necessarily like had the time to, or like the emotional wherewithal to. So I've been doing okay. The set of circumstances in which we're living now definitely like is a lot, but it also is inspiring to see how like every person like in my life that I care about is really, really walking the walk. Like, especially my white friends, I'm really impressed and like, so I'm hopeful. I feel like we're all really, really in it this time around. Like, I feel like this is a different moment in history. So I'm hopeful. I think.
Beautiful. Yes. Mili?
I am too in my childhood home. in my childhood bedroom.
Me as well. Yes.
It's been kind of like a good time because I mean my parents are here. I'm with my dog too. I'm in Rockville, Maryland. So only like 4 hours from New York City. And so I feel like it's been like seasons. Like I've been through like different seasons of quarantine. Like at first I was just like super anxious, super worried, like wasn't sure what's gonna happen next. And then I went into like overdrive, wanting to like renovate every every room in the house. I literally renovated my parents' kitchen, their living room.
Yes.
I went crazy because I was like, okay, I don't know what to do, but I have to do something. I can't just like be watching television or be upset or read the news every day. Like it's driving me crazy. So I feel like it's been like just going up and down. And then with everything going on, the protesting. But I am very lucky to be here to have this option. So it's been crazy. I feel like you just kind of have to go with the flow of things and be really well informed and also have like a good mental health space as well.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So important. And
Well, so sorry. I was gonna say, it's such a huge part of it has been educating myself because we are people of color, but we are not Black, so our experience is very different. And like, coming to terms with my bare skin and what it allowed me to do, which I was a teenager in Utah, so what I did was hide. Like they didn't always know. I mean, they almost always clocked me, but they didn't always know what they were looking at, and
Yeah.
so I had the privilege of being able to hide that way. So it's coming to terms with that, coming to terms with like, okay, no more hiding. Now it's time, you got to be on the right side of things. And this is, everybody's learning, everybody's growing, and you got to show up and show out. So that's been the last few weeks for me, is like really taking the time to educate myself, right?
Yeah. Because you can go more from there, but that's like when you have to start.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely. And acknowledging those blind spots and like those things that like you can now with distance acknowledge, like, wow, I think that had I been a little darker, like that experience would have gone an entirely different way. You know what I mean? Like, and finding, like, being able to just kind of clock that by yourself and be like, yeah, that's the reality, which is hard. It's not easy to do.
It's also
Absolutely.
It's also so interesting, and I'm so glad that we're having these conversations now. Thank you, Zoom, and all the other vehicles that we have to be able to communicate with each other across the country. But it's interesting also hearing the different stories, and it's interesting how things, depending on where you are, what the demographic looks like, how things can be. I was similar to you, Lucy. I was on a contract before this all happened. I was in Arizona, and it's interesting, of course, like it's a different demographic where I was, and I had an amazing time, but I did have one experience with the police where I'm the one who called the police because I felt I was being mistreated at an establishment I was at. We don't need to go into details, but then I was the one who was then questioned and treated like a criminal, or like I was doing something illegal, and I was like, I don't understand what's happening here. What? I called you guys for help because somebody touched me inappropriately. Why are we going through this? You know what I mean? So something I was actually thinking about recently too, depending on where you are and how people see you, it's all about perception. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
how
totally.
you're treated.
Yeah.
I'm glad that we can
totally
bring more light to these things. You know what I mean? Like self-reflection, and also like, let's change our environments state to state, because this land, we know who it belong to. So you know what I'm saying. Anyway, so speaking on self-reflection,
stuff?
coming from self-reflection. So while you've been in quarantine, how have the arts served you? I know we've kind of all talked about like projects with renovating spaces, you know what I mean? And like self-reflection, but have you found any new artistic outlets or discovered other things about yourself during this time that maybe that you didn't know before, but the art specifically helped bring that out of you?
So in the show that I was doing at Dallas Theater Center is this amazing play called American Mariachi, which is about an all-female mariachi group in the 1970s. And it was me and I think 4 other women in the show were part of the group, and we all had to learn different instruments. There was a woman who was learning the guitarrón, a woman learning the vihuela, and so they're both like one of like 3 women in the entire country, actresses, who can play those instruments. And so I learned to play the guitar, which is definitely not as hard as the guitarrón or the vihuela, but it's sitting over there in my room collecting a little bit of dust right now. But I was just practicing like rigorously. We all were during rehearsal. Anytime that our stage manager called to 10, we were all like, let's go practice. So we were just practicing like nonstop. And then when our show ended, we were kind of like, do we keep practicing? And I think collectively we did not for like a couple weeks because we were all just like kind of depressed. We were like, what's the point? But we've all kind of started to practice a little bit more again. And so I've been playing some of the music that I had to play. It's all mariachi guitar, so I can't like shred or anything. And even what I can play is like okay at best. But I've been trying to teach myself some other like simple mariachis, things to just kind of like keep myself in practice because it's a skill that I definitely want to maintain. And the show, I hope, it was a co-production with the Goodman Theater. And I think we're supposed to be at the Goodman in January, if that happens. So like the show is theoretically supposed to still happen. So I'm like, I'm going to keep practicing. I'm going to keep playing. And I would have never thought that I would ever be like a guitar player, but I've really like, it's given me a lot of like breathing room when I like feel really overwhelmed. I'm like, I'm gonna go play guitar. So I'm grateful for that, and something I definitely would not have expected to be doing in quarantine. It's just like practicing mariachi guitar, but it's great.
I know also that Lucy, because she posted a couple times, you'll sometimes go in your car and you sing to like
I do
let your feelings out. Listen,
I do that too.
Art's serving you. You're taking it on because you're doing it specifically because you are feeling a feeling. You are feeling a big feeling, and you need to feel it loud and musically.
Yeah.
So
that's the other thing I did. I made a playlist at the beginning of quarantine called Bad Bitch Belting. That I just like, if I'm ever in like a mood, if I'm just in a mood, I just like put it on and just like scream for a little bit. And
girl, you better share
that's
that.
Totally. I will. It's a public playlist. Absolutely. That definitely, like, I don't know what, and watching TV, like getting reinvested in like, you know, in like a good like TV drama. I also rewatched like When They See Us for like I think the 3rd time, just kind of in within the last week. And I just like, I'm grateful for those kinds of things that like we're able to turn to right now, and really specifically learning from Black artists and Black playwrights and writers and novelists and poets. Like really, really, I think that is something that all people, everybody, even non-artists, should be tapping into. So very, very, very grateful for that too.
Yes. Really.
There's a lot of those things, like Netflix did a whole Black Lives Matter like collection. That's amazing. I opened it and I was like, yes.
Yeah.
Everyone should have access to it. And all these movies are also free on Amazon as well, just so people can get more educated easily.
Yeah.
Are you listening, everybody? Free on Amazon.
Aren't you listening?
But during quarantine, I haven't been singing much, which was really surprising to me. I just like didn't, I guess it was because I've just been worried about like what's going to happen next in the careers of people in the music theater industry.
Yeah.
But so I haven't really been singing much, but I have, I bought a violin because I used to play violin, and I just like never thought that I would just like pick it up again. Yeah. Oh my God. I'm so excited to like just get back into it.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm like, it's like doing all those little things, you know, but also I made sure at the beginning of quarantine, I made a list of like 3 things that I really wanted to do by the end of it, just so I didn't overwhelm myself with all of these like little goals.
Mhm.
So I started doing like these like digital drawings on my iPad with Procreate, and I just like dive in, and I lose all sense of time when I do that.
That's
Me too.
awesome.
That's how I'm taking a drawing class. I have the same problem.
It's really amazing. I'm just like,
I
you
just
like,
Oh.
and time just passes. You can like paint or draw, and I was like shook. It's like, oh my god, it's already like 1 a.m.
Mhm.
My mom's like, are you okay?
I love that so much.
Wow.
I cannot draw at all. It's like
I can't either
circle,
at all.
stick.
Yeah.
Stick.
Oh yeah. I've been drawing that
I-
same way since I was like 5. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh well, legs.
But you
arms.
can paint by numbers too. There's the whole thing where you like
Do
order
you like that?
a big drawing, and then they say like, okay, number 1, blue.
No, I took
that
this.
was so
I've
fun.
mentioned this before on this thing, but I started taking. They were offering on. I'm not sure if it's called Udemy or Udemy. I'm not sure. It's a website that offers classes. And I saw that they were offering an art class, a like character drawing class.
Yes.
And it was like a special that day for $16.99, and usually the class is like $70.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, for $16.99, even if it's shit, I'm okay. Like I'm fine spending $16.99. And it's great. It's going great. And I was just like, I can draw a head. Look at that. It looks really good. The eyes are where they're supposed to be. The nose is where it's supposed to be.
Yes.
Look at it go.
That's amazing.
It's really going well, but it's true because it's it's like all videos. So it's your, what is it? Self-run. So it's not like I have a class, like a specific class every week. All of it is online. So it's at my own speed, I guess.
Right.
I'll like go from one lesson to the other. I'm just like, yeah. Okay, pause. Let me finish this up. Good. Next lesson. You know.
I love it.
Oh my god.
It's amazing.
The next thing I know, hours have gone by. And I got nothing done.
I actually, I sent Lillian a picture of some sourdough bread I made this morning.
It was beautiful.
That is
God.
thanks to Mr. Dan Kazemi, and also Baking with Jack, who's on YouTube. We're gonna tag him in this. Listen, all these Latinas are learning how to make sourdough. Okay, Mr. Baking with Jack.
Yes.
And you know, some of them might be single, so like, you know, introduce yourself. You got quite a following.
Is Jack cute? I haven't seen
Jack
the video.
is cute.
Who's Jack?
Jack, and what does he make?
He is like, I keep describing him as Tom Holland meets, oh my goodness, what's the actor's name?
I'm already on board.
From Kingsman, who's also
the little one?
Yes, Taron Egerton meets Tom Holland. Blonde.
Oh, you lost me on blonde.
You know,
I mean, that's okay. I'm married, but
blondes need love too. But he bakes, so yeah, we'll tag him in this.
They love bread.
Us too.
Yes, so bread has been my my savior, even though I found out I can't really eat bread, but I can eat sourdough. So
Hey,
sourdough city up in this bitch. Yes,
I was making sourdough like every other basic bitch. I taught myself to make sourdough during the beginning of this quarantine. And it was never quite, like, it kept getting better and better. Like, the quality of it kept getting better and better. But, like, my friends who make sourdough were no good with instructions. Absolutely no good. And they all had different ways that they did it. And I'm just like, I hate all of you. So I was trying different ways, and I could never get it quite right. And then a friend of mine was like, what kind of flour are you using? Because everybody else was like, use whatever, blah, blah, blah. Well, they were like, use a mixture of wheat and unbleached whatever. And I'm like, okay. But my one friend was like, what is the percentage of protein in your flour? And I was like, pardon?
I didn't know that there was protein in flour.
Okay. Oh, good. Then I wasn't the only one.
Yeah.
You're definitely not
That's
the
why I
only
haven't
one.
tried. This is too.
listen,
And so,
I haven't
yeah.
tried this either.
it's a process. I mean, as Lillian's saying, there's so many factors, and me and math, I haven't taken math since the first day of senior year in high school when I handed my textbook back and said, I won't be here tomorrow.
I had to take math in college because I was so bad at it.
I took the SAT 3
not-
times. I took it until I got the score that I needed to never take math in the schools that I applied to. I was like, oh, no. We're not doing it.
I got away with not taking one math class in college.
How
I
dare
did,
you.
however, put off I had to take like a math science tech class. I had to take like 2 of those over the course of my degree. And of course I put them both off until my senior spring quarter.
Yeah. I love
Um,
that.
and I just passed both of them. So
I love it.
I put the bare minimum into both of those classes. So.
But I feel like the bare minimum for probably every lady on this screen is the most people's best. Speaking of which, hey, college and Nina.
Yes.
Can you talk to us a little bit about when In the Heights came into your life, who you played, what you learned maybe about yourself? What was the experience or the experiences like for you guys?
I didn't really know about musical theater until I came to the United States and from Peru. And we were in, in high school, we had a drama department and we just did shows and musicals and plays every year. And they took us on a New York trip my junior year. And I'd never seen a musical before besides like in school. And this was the first one they took us to was Shrek the Musical. Okay. But then the second one was In the Heights.
Listen, don't knock Shrek. I love Shrek the musical.
It's fabulous. It just was very not what I expected.
I don't know.
Very different from In the Heights. Very
definitely
different from In the Heights.
Very drastic difference. But it was incredible. I just remember like sitting there being like shook. I made all of my white friends like learn all the parts so we could all like sing 96,000. And then 2 years later, I went to community college and that's when we did In the Heights there. And that was my first professional gig. And it was amazing. I was in the ensemble. I understudied the beautiful Alyssa. It was unreal. I was literally shook. It was like a dream come true, honestly. And it was all summer long that we did that production. Yes. And I got to go on once and I don't remember a thing. I just remember walking on stage and that was it.
I obviously wasn't there because I'm, hello. But the messages I was getting about how amazing you were, like throughout the progression of the show, like she just finished this number. Oh my God, blah, blah, blah. She just finished this number. Like,
I don't remember anything. I like try so hard. I'm like, people just kept pushing. People were so nice. Our cast was amazing. Yeah. And it was just such a great, like, the show just brings family. Like, I've never really felt that in any other shows like this, there's just like such a community of love and like everyone's got you no matter what.
Yeah.
But I love it.
And you got to play Nina at Only Theater as well.
Yes. Since then, I've done it 3 times.
Yes!
And I was at Only, and that was with Robin, and also at the Fulton Theater while I was still in college.
Robin, if you're watching, please answer your emails.
Oh,
we're trying to get you on the damn show.
Oh.
Go on, you.
Hello.
We'll tag him too.
But we'll tag him. But it was amazing, and it's every time it's like that. I don't think I'll ever get tired of playing her. I don't think I've said goodbye to her yet.
Of course. In
like my heart.
Yeah.
But it's just every time it's magical, and everyone's amazing.
Awesome. Yes.
Well, I've only done it once.
Don't be like Only. She killed.
No, that's amazing because you're right. Like I really do think that once you do it many, many, many more times. Like I think it's a show that once it enters your life, it doesn't leave. Mm-hmm. Like, and I don't think that I could say that about many other shows. So like I love that so much. And the thought of getting to hopefully when theater comes back, get to like do it with Lillian, like that would be, you know what I mean? Like I love it. But I did In the Heights. When I was still in college, I went to Northwestern. I graduated 2018. Oh my God. Awesome. And I did it. I auditioned this summer going into my junior year at Porchlight, which is an equity theater in Chicago. And it was the first time that In the Heights had been done like in Chicago proper. There's another regional theater, the Paramount, which is an incredible theater that's out farther in the suburbs that did In the Heights.
Carla in that production.
And I saw that production. That was the first time I ever saw that show while I was in high school. And my mom was like, come see the show with me. And I was like, I don't know anything about it. Just come with me. And I was sitting in the Paramount and like, which is this incredible, huge, gorgeous theater. And like, they had this, like the fucking like tour set up. Yeah, you guys had the real like tour set. And I was sitting there, and as every single number happened, like, I was like, oh, so that's what this is. And then I remember so vividly during Carnaval was when I lost my mind. And I saw all these people waving their flags, and I'm sitting in my seat like like just absolutely losing it. And I was like, yeah, I have to be in that show. I don't know when, I don't know how, but I have to do it. And I finally got my chance, and it was an amazing experience. And it really is familia, like talking about like people that I have always been since very connected with. Like my best friend in the whole world I met doing In the Heights. She was my Vanessa. We met at callbacks. And I've just like lifelong friends, like my like extended family truly is from that show. And we also we ran during the election in 2016. And our first show back after the election was like one of the most like surreal experiences I've ever had, because we all kind of held it together. And then it was during Carnaval when people started to fall apart. And that through the end of the show was just like, I kind of don't really remember it. We all just kind of blacked out. But I can't imagine doing any other show or being with any other group of actors during that time than that group of actors doing In the Heights. So it was, yeah, I mean, that show is really, really special. And I will say it, and I will argue this till the day I die, that In the Heights is a better musical than Hamilton.
It absolutely is.
I think it is. And I love Hamilton. Are you kidding me? Like, we all love Hamilton. But In the Heights just has so much heart and soul.
Yes.
Well, and that's the difference, right? Like, Hamilton is cool. The concept is
amazing.
cool. The music is cool. You're telling history, which is cool. Like, it's a really cool idea. It's really interestingly executed. It's cool. In the Heights is all family.
It's all heart. It's all heart.
It has them, like, I don't know, and mind you, I have never seen Hamilton in person. I've only ever seen video of it. I know, girl, don't make that
I didn't mean to drop my jaw like that at you.
Get off my ass. I was not in Chicago when it was here. Anyway, so it was, but it always kind of strikes me as something that you are experiencing as an audience member, where my experience of In the Heights in the show as well as an audience member is being a part of the community. It really draws in the audience to be like, you are a part of this now.
Lillian was at the opening night of In the Heights that I did. Yes, her and William
flag.
And her giant Puerto Rican flag in the front row. And it was a small theater. And she had her big Puerto Rican flag waving it. And she was the community, honey. She was the community. It was amazing. So Lillian, I hope goes to every opening night of In the Heights and brings all that joy for any production.
Anytime I hear of any In the Heights anywhere near me, I
got my flag. I'm on the way.
I know with this gonna go it's not off topic. It's on topic, but it's not a question that we told you we would ask. But I am curious now that we're talking about the connection, the connective tissue of In the Heights, the piece itself. And that's the common thing, I think, across the board. Anytime you meet somebody who's done the show, we all feel so connected and really don't experience another show that makes us feel the same way. And it could be partially the material itself, it lends itself to that, but also like us as Latinos. And if you don't want to answer this question, don't feel comfortable, totally understand. But I'm curious to know your opinions about the Latin narrative in theater today, because personally, I feel like it's very lacking. There aren't many shows. I mean, American Mariachi is beautiful. It's amazing. And they better Listen, Goodman, you better bring it back, okay?
Tag them.
Because it's an important story. It's an important story. And it's, we need to continue, the world needs to continue seeing every face on stage, all the faces, all the stories. Because that's the only way that we inspire change, you know what I mean? It's one of the main ways we inspire change. Yeah, I for one am looking for more Latin stories, you know, and people are developing them. There's another one, Ramona, which was just part of another reading for, but we'll tag Miss Kayla Elfriend in this as well. And she's got an amazing story that actually has to do with the Spanish, American settlers, Native Americans, and that whole story of like the Southwest, you know, that's something we're even removed from, I feel like, in New York, you know what I mean? But there's a whole history there as well of the start of our country. So yeah, all that to say, what are your opinions on either the lack of or what Latin narratives are there, and how would you like to see that change in the future?
So you sprung a question on me.
That's an amazing question.
It's a good one.
I think I know people have been like sharing a lot of stuff on social media about like the whole Dear White American Theater, which is an amazing like petition and organization. And anyone who has not signed it, tag, I hope you sign it. Yes. But also something that really struck me was looking at the specific percentages and demographics of all of the shows running on Broadway, and how outside of the like 3 or 2% other, Latinos and Latinx performers represent only 5% of performers on Broadway, which is absolutely insane to think about. Yeah. To really like think about and put it in perspective, and then think about like, oh yeah, I guess in like XYZ shows that I've seen on Broadway over the past few years, I could name maybe one person that I know that's Latinx that was on that stage. And
aside from
that, it's so disheartening. And that's only talking about like on stage, not like behind the table, and like who's running the room and who's picking the room. Like those are also the kind of conversations that I hope that like we can have down the line. But like, it's disappointing, definitely, to say the least. Like, I guess there are two sides to that coin. Like, one, yes, like there is obviously such huge value in getting to share, like tell Latinx stories written by Latinx people for Latinx people, like in the Heights and like American Mariachi and other shows like that. But then it's also really exciting to like see Latinx people playing roles like Elphaba in Wicked, like those kinds of roles that are not written
Nessa
for,
Rose.
Like, yes, like that kind of stuff is also like equally as important and as inspiring, and something that I hope that people just kind of get over, like just get over it, and you're gonna start seeing people who look differently playing roles that you've always seen as tiny white wafy ladies, and that's just the kind. I don't want to live in that world anymore. So that's my 2 cents on that. And that's amazing. Come on, Nessa Rose. Yes.
I agree. No, I think it is part one is having more of our stories on the stage everywhere, like in regional theaters, on Broadway, on TV, just like overall more of our stories, and also more of us just playing roles in everyday musicals. Like, why can't there be more of us in Wicked? Like I think I was the first Spanish Nessa Rose in the United States, like both on tour and on Broadway.
That's a crazy thing.
I had 3 or 4 Elphabas. Yeah, and Giselle was the one. Yeah. And there were 3 or 4 Elphabas that I worked with, not including standbys and understudies. And only one of them was Marianne Torres, who's Spanish, who's Latina as well. And I just can't, like, when I performed with her the first time, I started crying on stage in the first scene, because it's just something that like you don't see, and it's so important. I honestly don't understand, especially for Elphaba or any other roles in musical theater, why can't there be more people of color as principal actors and in the ensemble? You know, like there shouldn't be like one ethnic role for the show overall, especially
Well,
also
there's
behind
no
the table as
reason-
well.
Yes.
Unless the story specifically calls to a topic of race.
Right.
You know, your hairsprays, your ragtimes. There's no reason why you can't look at the gamut of people to cast it, you know? Like, I have a big problem with it in Shakespeare, you know? I mean, people are starting to do it more and more, but it's still really hard to get a really diverse looking group of Shakespeare.
She slays as well, by the way.
I know. Oh wait, I'm contemplating. Okay, I'm just gonna say it. So, Chicago Shakespeare Theater recently did a production of what was it? Sense and Sensibility. What was it?
Sense and Sensibility.
Yeah. Was that the one that they just recently did? Now I can't remember.
I don't know. I don't pay attention.
Called out because they had an entire cast of.
Oh no! It was was it a Shakespeare play or was it Emma?
No, it was one of the musicals. He was
so it's Emma. It was Emma.
Emma. That's what it was. I'm like, I knew it was like a Jane Austen. They had an entire.
So many talented folks in it. So many talented folks
Super
in it, but
talented.
not a one person.
I'm not faulting the actors who got cast in it. They went to the audition. They whatever. They booked the job. And all of my friends in that cast, I know, were like, this is not okay. You know what I mean? Like, and so they got called out about it. And there is no reason for that to be the case. No reason. Especially when I know it took them 6 months to cast it. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, in 6 months, you didn't see any Latinos, any Black people, any Asian people, any Indigenous people, and you didn't anybody that you could put into there.
Yeah.
You know, and like, don't get me wrong, like CST, I've worked there a lot. I have enjoyed working there. It has been really lovely. Some of the experiences I've had have been really like, but you got to do better, you know, because like, just because it is set during a certain time when all of those people were white people, that is not.
You're in the theater. We're suspending our disbelief.
Exactly. And like, there was a beautiful production of this one. I think is Christmas at Pemberley, done at Portland Center Stage. That was the most beautiful, diverse cast. Same time period, you know. Beautiful, diverse cast.
Yeah.
I was like, I saw the pictures. I didn't even get to see the production. I saw the pictures and I was like, this is so beautiful.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, and it just like, everything about the production of Emma just was like white people. There was lots of white curtains and white dresses and white. And like,
oh my God, Lillian.
I'm going, girl, listen, I'm about to not work there ever again. But you know what though? Like, at the time, I was there at the time, I was doing Comedy of Errors, which is frankly the only time that they go out of their way to really cast a diverse cast is for their what are they called? Short Shakes, because the Short Shakes goes out to schools in Chicago. And like, but even that feels a little bit checklisty, you know what I mean? Because if you look at pictures of Comedy of Errors, which they have done multiple times because they have shows in rep. Oh, she's up on her soapbox. She's going. If you look at pictures of it, you see they're like, oh, we want a Black Luciana. We want a Hispanic. I'm getting the names wrong now of the characters. But you know what I mean? Like, it's like check. Every single one of those Lucianas is this. Every single one of those Adrianas is that. You know what I mean? And I'm like, stop checklisting.
Yeah.
That's not okay. Like, that was that was created so that you guys would start thinking of integrating your cast. We are past being able to just checklist. Now you just gotta let it be what it's gonna. Let it be beautiful and grow. And so they came and talked to our cast. Oh, she's going in.
I love it. No, are you kidding? I'm living for this.
They came and talked to our cast of Comedy of Errors because we were rehearsing at the same time as they were rehearsing Emma, and because they wanted us to know about the article that had been written, and they wanted to talk to us, and they wanted to give us an opportunity to talk to them about any thoughts. The problem is, like, when you're an actor, okay, and you are there, you know, at any given time, the statistic is, at any given time of the, I want to say, I might get this wrong, of the 300,000 people who are equity actors in America, 17% are working at any given time, right? So the fear is if I say anything or I do anything wrong, I'm never going to get cast in this place again. Okay. So like they came, they talked to us, and the intent was to like open a line of conversation, right?
Yeah.
The problem is that as an actor, you know, and especially as an actor of color, the 7 of us that were in that cast of Comedy of Errors that were people of color, you know, some of us didn't want to risk it. Because if you say something, what if you don't get cast again? Some of us were like, I don't even begin to know where to start with this. Some of us were like, I don't feel the need to educate you about what you should be doing. And I was like, okay. So I went to Barbara Gaines and everybody, the 4 people that came and talked to us. 3 of them, I ran into them as I was leaving, and I was very honest with them. And I said, listen, I would love to have this conversation with you guys. This is scary for me. This moment right now is scary for me because I'm being honest with you about how I want to be honest with you about how I feel about how you guys are doing with this stuff. And I'm afraid that that means I won't get hired back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, that's what I'm afraid of. That means it. And they were like, yes, let's put it on the books. Let's set it up. And the thing is, the meeting never happened. Not their fault, not my fault. We couldn't line it up. But I took that first step to be like, this is not okay. And I did my homework about it. You know, I was like, they posted right at that time, they were celebrating like some anniversary. I can't remember the last 10 years. Cause it was, you know, beginning of 2020. So they're like, here are these pictures of the last 10 years of shows here. And I counted in 10 pictures, there were 21 people of color. And they were almost all in one picture from the recent production they did of Romeo and Juliet. That was, I didn't get to see it, but I heard things. So, you know, it just, I was like, this is a problem. This is a problem because you're tokenizing us in here.
Yeah.
Right?
We show up on Instagram. We show up on your website.
We show up in one picture on Instagram.
Yeah.
I think
you know what I mean?
That's the important thing, you know, like hashtag we are not a quota, you know? It's even a friend, I have a friend who just made a debut. I'm not going to put names out there, but a friend who just made her Broadway debut before, you know, this all happened, and I was about to make her Broadway debut, and they recently had a conversation with the cast. And she wanted to speak up, being the only Latina in her cast, because she felt like she also wasn't being recognized, and she wanted to just say it's not just enough to just say this. You have to understand, and not just cast. You know, oftentimes Latinos, Latinas, Latinx are are cast because, you know, they're like, oh, you can play white and you can play black, but you never get to play yourself, or you would never get to acknowledge who you are. So I think that this is a really important conversation, and I'm grateful for you guys engaging in it, because there are some regional theaters we've mentioned, like Portland Center Stage, Milwaukee Rep, and countless other ones that are trying, you know, doing their due diligence.
The Goodman is also so good at it.
The Goodman is also really
mean?
doing their due diligence.
And I think that I look forward to what these next seasons look like as we reopen, you know, for the theaters that are willing to have these conversations. Do you each have organizations that you would want to shout out for viewers to donate to, or to support, or just gain some more knowledge or education from, whether it be
projects that you're working on,
whether it be theater, a Black Lives Matter organization, any other type of organization?
Right now I'm making a bunch of little cartoon drawings for people. They're pay what you can, and 100% of the donations are going to be split between the Bill Project and the Black Trans Travel Fund.
Yeah,
amazing.
Almost at $2,000, so I'm
oh my god, I want one.
So,
I totally want one.
Where can we where can we go to find them or order or whatever?
Go to my Instagram and give me a message, and I'll send you all the details and my Venmo and everything.
Cool. Yes, we'll talk after this. I've started a production company. We've started a production company, and maybe you can create some art for us, and we can work on it together.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, Lily and I were talking before, y'all joined in. I've been out protesting a few times a week here in Chicago. And it's been incredible. People like protesters and activists here are really, really doing their best to keep people safe, and to make sure that these events stay organized, and that people stay safe. There are always medics. There are people, there are medics tents, there's water, there's food. So I think if anyone is looking for a place to donate, donating to any Chicago bail fund, to help protesters that are getting arrested, because there are quite a few. Yeah. Thanks, Mayor Lightfoot. Don't tag her in this, or do. I mean, I don't know. So anything to help any protesters that have been arrested or detained, because most of them are young people of color. And I've also really made it my mission to try and raise as much money as I can for Jamie Harrison, who is running to unseat Lindsey Graham in the South Carolina Senate race. Hello. And right now he's currently neck and neck with Lindsey Graham, and I really, really think that he could win, and it would make a huge, huge difference in the Senate to have Lindsey Graham out and to have Jamie Harrison in. So I've also, his link is to donate is in my Instagram bio. Okay. Jamie Harrison for Senate. So
yes,
that's kind of whatever.
Girl.
Yeah.
Love that. Oh, I love these women.
Latinas.
Oh my God, ladies, it has been such a pleasure.
Yes.
You are so amazing. Thank you, thank you, thank you for agreeing to come on Café Con Leche.
Of course.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much. And I hope we're all in the Heights production soon.
I know.
We all got to do a show together.
Look, we got, I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4. You can be Nina. You can be Carla. You can be Vanessa. I'll be Daniela. Nailed it. Call us.
Call us. We're all available.
Our info's below.
Resume attached.
We're ready to go. Look at all this chemistry.
A package deal.
Yes.
So, ladies, go ahead, Liz.
Thank you. Thank you so much again. It's so beautiful to see your faces, to meet you, to see your face, to see you, meet you, Lucy. I've heard so many amazing things about you, and Mili, you're just phenomenal. You know I love you. I'm glad that we can have these conversations and connect even more with our communities. So thank you.
Totally.
All right. And thank all of you for watching Café Con Leche today. We hope you always have your café exactly the way you want it. Bye.
Yes.
See you soon.